All right, everybody, it is New Year's Eve. Now, I'm actually calling an audible today. I had something else planned for this episode, but in the last 48 hours, almost every single person that I've spoken to keeps asking me what I think about what's going on in Minnesota. Now, originally, I wasn't even going to cover this because the truth is I just have a lot on my plate right now between trying to investigate all the stuff with Epstein and all these new release files and going, cross-referencing it with my old files. And then everything I'm trying to do with Charlie Kirk and that ongoing investigation. Yeah, this wasn't on my list of things to do. But, sometimes you just got to give the people what they want. So I'm going to hit the intro real quick, give you guys a chance to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And then we're going to end off 2025 talking about Somalis, I guess. My name is Bayes, and welcome to Bayes is Based. All right, so before we get started, I want to give you guys a little peek into my mind and see how my thought process works. Because whenever there's a story like this that just comes out of the blue and spreads like wildfire, I always have a couple of questions. And before I ask those questions, I like to take a step back and look at the board. When I say look at the board, I mean look at the world, the media, the public attention, the political landscape, things going on in business. Look at it all like it's a board game. Where are the pieces on the board? Where is the public's attention? How does this story move the pieces if it does? And what is it shifting the attention from? Because make no mistake, this story is taking people's focus away from a couple of major stories that are going on right now. Like I said, this is not on my list of things to do. I want to cover Epstein. I want to cover Turning Point. I want to look at the relations, what's going on between America and Israel, and if this administration is acting in the interest of Americans or if it's acting in the interest of what's best for Israel. I want to look at laws that they're trying to pass, all the gaslighting that's going on. There are a lot of really important things that I think that our attention should be on. So now that this whole Minnesota Somali stories going on, and that's all anybody wants to talk about on both sides, because now you have the people on the right that are like, oh, we got to get rid of the Somalis, there's the fraud, we gotta arrest them, we need accountability, they're wasting tax dollars. And then you got the people on the left saying that the right is just amping this up, and Tim Walsh, I think, even said something that this is like a form of white supremacy. I don't know, some stupid shit. But this has my antenna, my spidey senses tingling in a way that I don't think is really happening with the average person, with other people. And that's also why I think it's so important for me to have this platform, so I could share my thoughts and opinions and, my perspective with you guys. And maybe, who knows, maybe I'll enlighten some of you a little bit. Or maybe I'm just crazy, or maybe better yet, you guys will be able to comment and enlighten me. But first, since it is the last day of the year, let's do a little recap and look at the map. We started off the year with Trump's inauguration. He swept the swing states in the election, and now he's coming into the White House with a mandate and a big swinging. He's got an all-star team that everybody wanted: Tulsi Gabbard, RFK, Kash Patel, who at the time was promising, I guess, Dan Bongino was fun while it lasted, and best of all, Matt Gaetz. Oh, no, that's right. We ended up getting Pam Bondi. And we can't forget about Elon Musk and Doge. That was a big part of everything, too, and everybody was very optimistic about that. I mean, we knew the whole game plan, right? Day one, he's going to end the wars, release the Epstein files. They're gonna cut the deficit. They're going to drain the swamp, get rid of all the corruption, deport the immigrants, save the economy. And after the whole Biden-Harris shit show and everything that went with it, for a second, it almost looked like the Democrats were never going to be in power again. And I'll bet you one thing, the right definitely wasn't worried about the midterms. So what happened? First, they faked us out with the Epstein files. They had all those right-wing influencers show up to the White House and on camera hand them a bunch of binders filled with the first wave of Epstein files that turned out to be information that was already public. Then, not only did he not stop the wars, and forget the shills like Steven Crowder that'll try to point out all the other conflicts that he did play a role in solving, the mandate was for Russia and Ukraine and Gaza, which the vast majority of us believe was a genocide that was backed and supported by both the Republicans and the Democrats, which, is really sad when you think about it, considering it's one of the few things that the Republicans and Democrats were able to agree on over the past couple of years. Not to mention the fact that the whole world was witnessing this on TikTok day in and day out. And the response wasn't to stop the slaughtering of women and children. No. It was to assassinate over 240 journalists who were reporting it. In some cases, including their families. In other cases, including bombing hospitals to target them. Oh yeah, and let's not forget, also to leverage the sale of TikTok to Larry Ellison, the world's richest pro-Israeli Zionist who is also currently advocating for mass surveillance in America, while he backs his son who is buying up all the mainstream media in America. Then we got the big beautiful bill, a massive spending bill in favor of special interests that's increasing the deficit, a complete contradiction to what we were promised on the campaign. That's what led to the tension with him and Elon. Remember when Elon had that black eye? Remember when Elon said we weren't getting the Epstein files because Trump was in it? And because I'm ripping Trump right now, I think that it's only fair that I point out that I have yet to see any evidence that leads me to believe that he was engaging in sexual activity with underage girls. I think that he's protecting his friends. I think that he's protecting Israel and whatever's left of their reputation. And I also believe that those files are filled with a lot of bullshit, and that's what he's talking about when he says that it's a Democrat hoax. And I want you to really think about this for a minute. If you had a dirty police precinct, okay, think about it, that was laundering money and running drugs and assaulting women and killing people, do you think they'd be writing about that in their files? You think that would be all in their reports on paper? Even the people that were investigating it and uncovered it, you think that they're going to give everybody every little detail? Or maybe are they going to try to cover it up a little bit? And who knows, maybe even plant some evidence and point it in the direction of the guy that they don't like. But hey, that's just my theory. I think Trump's a traitor that sold out the people that believed in him and voted for him, whether they know it or not yet. But I don't think that he's a rapist. And I also want to add that as disappointed as I am in him right now and his administration and what they're doing, I haven't given up hope yet. I'm still hoping and praying that there's something I don't know, something that we all don't know, that there's a bigger picture involved, a bigger plan involved, and that it's going to work out in the end. It's really not looking like that at the moment, I'm not going to lie. But, even if there's a chance that he just makes some kind of change and changes his path and turns things around. I just try to keep an open mind, and I understand that I operate within the parameters of the knowledge that I have access to, and the people that are making the real decisions in the world, they have a lot more access to a lot more information. And it's just something that I always keep in the back of my mind, no matter what is going on. We don't know everything. We actually know very little. I tend to believe that I know, a little bit more than the majority of the population with all the research and stuff that I do, and the fact that I'm not brainwashed by Operation Mockingbird and the mainstream media. But who knows? All right, but anyway, back to the recap. So after Trump's bro breakup with Elon, he let his butt buddy Bibi rope us into a military conflict with Iran. Luckily, he de-escalated the situation after striking their nuclear facilities, but this was another campaign promise broken. We never should have done this. Bibi's been trying to rope us into war with Iran for 30 years, and we were there. We were right on the cusp. And with all the other conflicts going on, it really could have been World War III. And it made Trump look really bad. It made Israel look a lot worse, especially when you factor in what was going on with Gaza and the fact that we weren't getting the Epstein files and that everybody else was starting to actually connect the dots and realize that, hey, Epstein probably worked for Mossad. Which brings us to Charlie Kirk. Now, there is a whole lot to get into when talking about Charlie Kirk and everything that was going on with him before he died and what's happened since he died. I'm not getting into the nitty-gritty right now. I actually have a big Charlie Kirk project that I've been working on, that I've been talking about, at this point, it's looking like it's going to be like a 2 or 3-part miniseries. And I want to drop the first episode for that next week. So I'm going to get into everything then. So for now, I just want to get into the relevant details that fit in continuity with this recap for what we're going to be talking about today. Now, in July, Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA had their annual Student Action Summit, which, by the way, was the largest that they've had in history. He had Tucker Carlson there, who he famously told to go max before he hit the stage. And when Tucker hit the stage, he talked all about Jeffrey Epstein and Israel. Charlie also moderated a debate between Dave Smith and Josh Hammer, where Dave Smith also famously mopped the floor with Josh Hammer to thunderous applause, I might add. This led to the issues that Charlie Kirk was having with his donors, because they were all pro-Israel, and they're pushing the pro-Israel agenda. So, having Tucker there talking about Jeffrey Epstein, it's okay to question Israel, and, are we America or not? It wasn't a good look. They were also very upset with the way that debate went, because Josh Hammer looked very bad. Everybody was clapping for Dave Smith. This, of course, ends up going viral. It's all over the internet. And now, not only is this going viral, but at this same time, there's all these posts circulating, going viral about the devastation in Gaza, and everybody asking about Epstein. All these red flag topics that are really putting a beating on Israel's reputation, and they're circulating worldwide. So a deal ends up getting cut where a person named Erica Mindell, I believe, a former IDF instructor, gets hired to handle policies in hate speech for TikTok. And they ended up making drastic policy changes, which they claimed were to suppress hate speech. Now, I just want to point out, this person was hired in July, and in August, they made those drastic policy changes to combat hate speech. That's what it was all about, combating hate speech. Now, anybody who's been on TikTok ever since then might be singing a different tune. A lot of people, myself included, have had a lot of experience with a lot of suppression of information that has nothing to do with hate speech. In fact, anything anti-Israel or anti-Zionist in any way not only ends up getting shadow bans, but in a lot of cases, you'll get strikes on your account with suspensions and possible banment, which, is this America or not? Like, First Amendment. If it's one thing I understand if it's real hate speech where you're spreading hate or inciting violence in any way, like that is totally unacceptable. But criticizing a foreign nation, like, what is our First Amendment for? But anyway, just like I said, remember, this person was hired in July, and these changes were made in August. And then we get to September, where Charlie Kirk is tragically assassinated in public in front of 3,000 people, phones out, the footage floods social media, and, it was just devastating to see. Now, like I said, I'm not getting into all the theories and everything, but there were a lot of anomalies and different things that people saw on that footage that circulated the internet that led for all these different beliefs and theories about what they think happened to Charlie and who was responsible. At the end of the day, Tyler Robinson was arrested for the murder of Charlie Kirk, and the official narrative is that he was motivated by his left-wing ideology and his hate, and he hated Charlie for his political views. And although there's a lot of anomalies, as I stated, and contradictions with the storylines and the evidence and whatnot, what I believe really reinforced this narrative in the beginning was social media. Because despite the fact that, just a month earlier, TikTok made all these drastic policy changes to combat hate speech, or so they say, when Charlie died, there was a lot of hate speech circulating through social media, a lot of hate speech going viral. All these different people you saw on the left that were celebrating his death, just riling everybody up. All these right-wing show influencers, so quick to point it out, telling everybody America's under attack, the enemy from within, it's them against us, they want us dead. All this dangerous, violent rhetoric that TikTok especially not only allowed to go out, but flooded out through the algorithm so that everybody could see just a couple of weeks after they allegedly made these drastic policies to combat hate speech, when in reality, all it's really done is censor people that criticize Israel. Now we're going to fast forward past all the investigations and all the drama and conspiracy theories and just skip right to AmFest. Now, at this point, we basically have a civil war that's brewing on the right, especially between the influencers. You have a couple of different sides to this too. First, you have the real shills like Steven Crowder, Tim Pool, Matt Walsh. These guys are all very pro-MAGA. They're all pushing the mainstream narrative and driving a wedge between Americans, pushing this culture war, claiming to debunk all the conspiracy theories while doing everything they can to avoid the facts. They don't care about the truth at all, and they're trying to use the midterms to scare the hell out of everybody to keep them in line. Then you have the truthers, the investigative journalists, the troublemakers, the alleged conspiracy theorists, like Candace Owens, Baron Coleman, Ryan Matta, Ian Carroll. And, you know, it's funny, Ian Carroll, I don't even know if he belongs in that category because he seems a little more left, maybe left center to me. He is definitely on that team, though. Not only that, he might be the MVP of that team, especially when this is all said and done. But then you have another group. Now, this group may seem like it's part of the first group, but this is the pro-Israel group. This group kind of gives off some Israel first vibes, though you're not allowed to say that because they're going to call you anti-Semitic. But now we're talking about like Ben Shapiro, Mark Levine, Erica Kirk, and Erica Kirk, who I like to refer to as Miss America. I mean, I just love the way she comes out to those fireworks, don't you? Anyway, so everything all kind of came to a head at AmFest. You had Ben Shapiro, Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, like everyone kind of taking shots at each other. Like you could really see this civil war in full effect. But Erica Kirk now is the new CEO of Turning Point USA. And this not-so-grieving widow has been caught in so many lies that at this point there are a lot of people that are kind of thinking maybe she might have been involved with, you know, a couple of other guys. And I just want to say that now that all these pictures are coming out from Erica's past, that her whole story of not drinking and not really dating other guys before Charlie might be some of the only conspiracy theories that actually got debunked in 2025. Next to Pam Bondi and Kash Patel's There Is No Epstein List. And, oh yeah, of course, Erica Kirk telling everybody that she had Charlie's phone and that he wasn't texting anybody, that he thought that they were going to kill him. So yeah, there are a lot of reasons why Erica Kirk, despite the fact that her husband was shot in the neck, actually might be because of the fact that her husband was shot in the neck, is one of, if not the most hated women on the internet right now. Like, it's crazy. Like, she's got like 2016 Hillary Clinton vibes. So it's kind of crazy to me that despite all this going on and all this negative publicity around Erica Kirk, that they thought it was a good idea to have her endorse J.D. Vance for the 2028 presidential election, despite the fact that we're like, 2 years away from a primary? You know, like, it's just kind of crazy. It's a little early in my opinion, you know, like I said, especially because I would think that they would have waited till the primaries. But hey, who knows? Maybe when the Democrats just tapped Kamala, you know, like just pushed her through without a primary, that they started a new trend that we didn't know about. Because it kind of seems like the Republicans are trying to do the same thing with J.D. Vance. They're planting all the seeds like that's going to be the guy in 2028. You know, of course, unless Trump runs for a third term like Mary Madison is saying that she wants, but I don't think that that's going to happen. So that's where we are going into 2026. The right is split into pieces, and it's over broken promises, bad policy, an assassination, what looks like multiple cover-ups, and the interests of a foreign nation. The Democrats are somehow back from the dead, and they're looking to crush the midterms. And they're probably going to do it too, unless the Republicans can get a very big win. And when I say a very big win, I mean in the court of public opinion, because it hasn't been happening. It hasn't been happening. They've been taking L after L. The approval ratings are coming down. Nobody trusts this administration. I mean, their only hope really is to find a way to remind everybody just how corrupt that the Democrats are and try to convince them that they're still the better option, despite all this other shit that we've been dealing with them. As long as you're not a Muslim, because I think at this point, if you're a Muslim, you kind of have to vote blue. And I am an American that loves my country and cherishes the Constitution. And I am also a Christian that believes in Jesus. I don't even know how I can laugh about this either because I'm a fucking conservative. I mean, this is crazy, crazy. Like, you realize, like, just think about everything that I just said. And I voted for Trump every time. I've been a Trump supporter since 2015. And I am an American that loves my country, and I cherish the Constitution. And I am also a Christian that believes in Jesus. And I can tell you all right now that neither one of these scumbag political parties, either one of them, has America's interests at heart. Neither one is for the American people, and neither one of them is representing Christian values. Not even a little bit. All right, but like I said, Today's episode is about what's going on in Minnesota. But as I was watching this video, all this stuff that I just talked about for the last 20 minutes, that's what was going through my mind. Because as you're going to see, because we're going to cover some of the footage, not only does it seem like there is real fraud going on, but it is very blatant fraud. It is very obvious fraud. It's the kind of fraud that there might be some people within politics, some elected officials that had to either take a bribe or look the other way or just display a level of incompetence that it's like, I don't even know. It's crazy. It's crazy. So, I think about everything that's going on and everything that's gone on that the Republicans are dealing with, especially in the court of public opinion. And I don't know, it's just a little suspicious because this kind of scandal seems to be exactly what they need and exactly when they need it. And it could be a coincidence, but I'm sorry, I don't really believe in coincidences. So, I mean, that makes me ask some questions. Who knew about this? When did they know about this? Why didn't they act sooner? And are they even gonna act now? I think they're valid questions. But hold on, let's get into it now. Cause it gets even better. There's some other stuff that's just, like I said, my spider senses are tingling a little bit. So we're gonna check it out. Now, before this video, I had never heard of Nick Shirley. He seems to be very popular, though. He's got over 1 million subscribers. Good for him. But let's check this out.
Hello, we'd like to ask where the money's going. What do you guys think about the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
I don't think anybody is enabling fraud to happen.
Hold Governor Walz accountable for this.
What was this money spent on?
Notice right away. What is it? 10 seconds into the video, they're name dropping Tim Walz, which, mind you, he's the governor. So, I mean, this totally lands on him, no doubt. It's just a little political.
1.26 million. What was that money spent on? There aren't any kids.
Answer the question. Are there children? There's no children inside this building.
Potentially the largest fraud scandal in U.S. history is taking place in Minnesota as literally billions of dollars have been funneled through Somali-ran fraudulent.
Okay, so again, potentially the largest fraud scam in U.S. history. Now, is Nick Shirley like a genius? Is he the best journalist ever? Like, not knocking him in any way. Like, it's great that he brought this to everybody's attention. But, you know what I mean? Like, what's the FBI doing? Like, aren't there people that audit these kind of things? Like, I don't know. It's just, it just seems like kind of out of nowhere, But let's keep going.
businesses. So much fraud, it could actually almost replace the entire GDP of Somalia. These fraudsters have worked hand in hand with the Minnesota government as they enabled billions of dollars to be given to fraudulent businesses underneath welfare purposes. Some of this money eventually landed in the hands of terrorist groups in Somalia like the Al-Shabaab, and others enriched themselves.
See, that makes it even crazier, because now where's the CIA? Where's the CIA? Like, aren't there analysts that track where these terror groups get their funding? Nobody in the government was able to put this together. You know, is anybody else asking these questions right now? Is anybody else even thinking about this? I mean, there's got to be somebody with some kind of brains, right?
All at the US taxpayers' expense, and in this video we will break down all of the fraud from start to finish, from going to the fraudulent businesses and confronting the people who are making millions of dollars from the government. And we will also be confronting the incompetent government leaders who let this fraud happen. And to make this happen, I met up with a man who's been doing his own investigation for years now, as he has seen the fraud firsthand. His name is David. Let's get into this and be prepared to be shocked.
Name is David, no last name.
Fraud here inside of Minnesota.
It is far worse than anybody can imagine. You heard it's 7 to 10 billion and maybe more, and now the numbers have been revised and put out there publicly that they think it's more like 8 billion. How I got involved is that where my office is here in Minneapolis, I'm sort of in the heart of all of this fraud, and I would see these childcare centers. I said, well, there aren't any kids there. It's the middle of the day. And all I see are a couple of guys standing out front smoking. And then I'd go by another daycare and I'd see the same thing. I said, well, where do these kids play? And so I started to go online and look, and I said, this place is licensed for 80 children. They had 0 children. Every time I went by there, they never had a single child there.
So it kind of seems to me like David was the real one doing the investigation here. But now my question is, so if this guy, David, no last name, is in the heart of Minneapolis, just happens to like step in shit. Like, this guy just happens to notice a couple of things and starts to put it together. How did Nick Shirley get involved? He called Nick Shirley? He didn't contact the FBI, the CIA? I mean, who knows? Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Maybe he did, and that things were already in motion, some sort of investigation. But if that's the case, then wouldn't there be busts? Like, wouldn't there have been more arrests before a journalist got involved? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just kind of spitballing here a couple things, but it's just very strange to me. And I know that there already were some arrests, but I don't know. This thing stinks. This thing stinks.
And I said, well, how many of these companies are there? And the research came back that there are 1,020 of them, and more than 800 of them are Somali-owned.
So, listen to what he just said. Over 1,000 companies, 1,020 companies, over 800 of them are Somali-owned. And this isn't on anybody's radar? Why even have an FBI? Why even have a CIA? Like, this is what I mean. Like people, like, you're going to tell me they didn't know? It's like, no. This was obviously some sort of deep state program. They were allowing this to happen. Like, I want to know where the money went. I want to know where the money was really converging, because there's no way anybody's going to be able to convince me that intelligence did not know that this was going on. They had to have known that this was going on. They were letting it go on, and there has to be a reason. Because there's no way you're going to convince me that there's over 800 Somali-owned businesses committing billions, with a B, billions of dollars in fraud. And this fucking guy, David, just happens to figure it out and calls Nick Shirley. And now all of a sudden you got J.D. Vance, who just got endorsed by the not so grieving widow, Erica Kirk, to be the next president. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, how does nobody see through this shit? How does, like, is it me? Am I crazy? Like, what the hell?
Nobody from the state of Minnesota ever cross-checks to see if any rides were ever actually provided. All they did was write the check.
See, now they're trying to pass the buck, and they're like, nobody in the state of Minnesota, it's all Tim Wall's fault, and nobody in Minnesota. It's like, okay, what about the feds? What about the FBI? What about the CIA? If any of this money was making it to the hands of terrorist group overseas, it should have been detected. What about Mossad? Aren't they our greatest ally? Don't they have the greatest intelligence in the world? Like, what about Larry Ellison? What is he, too busy buying up freaking media and TikTok that he's not updating Oracle to, like, well, I don't, you know what, I shouldn't even go there because I don't know exactly what Oracle does, if it is the type of software that, like, detects these type of things. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, someone should have been onto this. It shouldn't be fucking David and Nick Shirley blowing the lid off this. Like, I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
So right here we have all this paperwork. And how are you getting all this information about the fraud?
A lot of it is through my own research, and then I have some contacts at the Capitol going back many, many years. And so the data that I'm getting is 100% accurate, coming directly from...
Okay, so he's got all these files. He's got all this data. It's 100% accurate. And he has all these contacts at the Capitol. Why didn't anybody at the Capitol do anything about it? Like, what the fuck is going on? What is going on?
Research done by people at the state Capitol.
All this paperwork right here, what are we looking at?
The areas of fraud that I have numbers for are mostly related to childcare. This is massive fraud that is beyond anyone's imagination, the scope. And so, for example, there's a childcare not far from here in Minneapolis that has two childcares listed at the same address, and together.
All right, so let's just start going through. Now we're gonna watch, and they're gonna go to like a half a dozen different spots.
There's another.
All right, they're getting into the types of fraud, whatever. All right, now look.
Received $1.3 million in 2021. They got $987,000.
Mago Child Care.
In 2022,
all
they
this
got
millions of dollars in fraud.
714,000.
Alleged fraud. The windows are blacked
And the
out.
childcare center
Doors
is
locked.
locked. Should we
Midday
go
on a
go?
weekday.
Try to get in.
What's
ring
going
the
on?
doorbell.
Where are all the
Nobody showed
kids?
up. They're open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. It says here on their sign. Yet
Yeah,
there's
100%.
absolutely
I agree.
nobody.
Oh,
Now let's see. They're gonna go to another spot.
Used to just be an AI clipper has now become the most powerful AI growth free in 3 months at 50% off. And now let's get back into the video. Now we're going to the next daycare center. How much money has this one generated?
This one in
Here we go.
fiscal
We got
year
all the paperwork. It's
2025,
all right here.
$1,042,059.
The bulletproof
In fiscal year
case.
2024,
The layup for the Republicans.
$1,059,078.
They caught the biggest, probably the biggest fraud scandal of all time. It's all the
$336,000.
Democrats.
This next one is literally 1 block away.
Let's go. Let's see.
I've ever seen is someone standing outside
Oh my God!
smoking.
And just think,
What's
Tim
crazy about
Walz,
this is that last
he was
daycare
almost
center
vice
is
president.
That green building right there, and the other daycare center right now is right here. These buildings should be
Thank God we have
operating
J.D.
as they're
Vance as vice
receiving
president
literally
instead.
Millions of dollars.
Oh, knock, knock,
I
knock.
knocked
Anybody
on the
home?
door, and to my surprise, somebody actually
Where
answered
are all the
door.
kids?
Hello. Can we speak? I would like to check a child in the daycare.
All right, there's no kids. We know.
My son in the daycare here.
Oh,
Can I speak to someone?
we got some people
No. Yeah, I
outside.
would like to see if I can put my son Joey here.
Who's your son, Joey?
My son Joey. Can I check out
They're like
daycare
yelling
center?
at him through the door.
No! You're a liar. I'm the owner.
Do you put your kid here in this daycare?
No.
There is one child in there. Yeah, I'd like to know if this is a legit business.
Me, I'm scared of you too. How come I explain everything?
You're scared of me?
Yeah.
Why?
Because of your curry.
Because of my
This is
color.
great
You
for
said you're
cultural
scared of me because of my
shit.
color. Does that make
They're
you a
brown
racist?
and they got masks on.
But
no,
you-
no.
you said you're scared
I'm not-
of
I'm
me
not
because of
He's
my
got the
color.
shades.
I'm not saying you're racist.
You
knows
said
he's
you're scared of me
crushing
because of
life
my
right
color.
now.
That makes you a racist. So right now,
is my
they're all
tax
getting
money.
mad because
Show the blatant fraud that was taking place here in Minnesota. Somalis
Subscribe now to
started following
support.
us around the city.
and now we're being followed. Are you in favor of $1.9 million going illegally?
Oh, there's the woman saying that, oh, don't answer their
That is
ice.
Quality Learning Center, but can't even spell learning right on the door.
And look, this one they got the. I think is this the one where they got the sign? Yeah, look.
We are not
Leering
ICE.
Center.
I don't care
They spelled learning wrong on the sign.
I belong here just like you
Thank
belong
God
here.
Dave cracked the case.
It's ice.
You do realize that there's supposed to be 99 children.
It's crazy. No, talk to some
Oh my
locals. How do you feel about your tax dollars getting lit on fire?
Yeah, it's just. I've never
All
seen
because of the
nobody here at
brown
all.
people and the Democrats.
So how long have you been living here?
Since 2017, 2018.
You've never seen a single child walking that.
Mind you, I'm joking around about this stuff, but one way or another, every single person who gets charged with this, who's found guilty, if they are not born citizens, they should be deported. 1,000%. The country does not need this crap. Now, as far as the people saying that all the Somalis got to go, what is there? 100,000 Somalis? There's not 100,000 people that are guilty of this. Okay, so let's like tone it down. Like, I'm making my jokes and everything, but like let's not let this get used to drive that left versus right WWE bullshit culture war any further. Well, I'm sorry, it's bullshit for the politicians. It's not. It's real life for us. But let's keep going.
No, not at all.
And you
So
know
this
that like the Tim
daycare center is
Pools, the
literally
Stephen
just a place to
Crowders, Matt
traffic
Walsh,
money.
they're gonna be
$1.9 million.
Hold on, let me turn
just
this off for a second. Because all these shills that I'm talking about, you bet your ass, you watch and see. You're going to have Stephen Crowder, Tim Pool, Matt Walsh, all these freaking jerk-offs. They're going to be talking about this for the next month or two. 100%. This is going to be, they're just going to jam it down everybody's throats. So when people are trying to talk about Epstein and, the Charlie Kirk assassination and the conspiracy with that and all these other shady characters and cover-ups and all these allegations, all the shells, they're all going to be coming out saying, no, like, no, it's the left, it's the gays, it's the minorities, it's the fraud. Watch. And this kid right here, he's doing great work. I think it's a little suspicious. We're gonna have to dig into. We're gonna have to do a little deep dive into Nick Shirley. I gotta see where he's from, what he's about, like where he went, like what state he grew up in, where he went to college, if he's affiliated with any kind of church or any nonprofits, who his parents are, if they have any kind of media or military ties. Like I said, when I watched this video, I was just like, no, like there's no way. Like this is too easy. It's just too easy. There's just no way. There's no way. Like, and just remember something, okay? It was before my time, before I was born. But when the whole Watergate scandal happened with Nixon, who was it? What was his name? That famous journalist that cracked the case, Bob Woodward, and then he became like one of these huge famous journalists after that. And then only years later, we found out that he was really affiliated with the CIA, or he was CIA. You know what I mean? Like, listen, and I'm not trying to knock this kid. I don't know who he is, but I got some suspicions because 1 million followers. He's getting the rub from Vice President J.D. Vance, who just got endorsed. Like, you don't think that there's any chance that, maybe someone passed this kid this story to help build him up and launch him up to be like that next young face, that next young right-wing influence that could potentially replace Charlie Kirk? Like, who do you think Nick Shirley's going to be telling you to vote for president in 2028, in the 2028 election? Because I'd put the house on it right now. That's probably going to be J.D. Vance. Let's keep going. Maybe I'm wrong.
Claiming they have 90 children every day of the week, 5 days a week.
I mean,
let's
these
find
people
out.
are making just about more money than NBA athletes. No friends for little Joey.
Yes, sorry.
Dang it. Well, have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
So, little Joey would not be accepted to that daycare.
Joey's still home.
Turn down from it. They
Joey's
got the whole
still
list.
looking for
They got all
daycare.
the paperwork. They
And
got all the
because little Joey
addresses.
couldn't get into
They're
the
gonna hit up
daycare,
all
we
these
went to
spots
an autism
just to
center,
show you
as
how
they have been
blatant this
popping up
is.
everywhere
Just
as
to
the rise of
really sell
autism
it.
has
Like, just in
occurred here
case there's any
Minnesota
doubt.
Because of the government funds that they're receiving.
Oh,
I
gotta
tried
hit the
to check my
autism
son
clinics,
Joey
too.
into an autism center.
We've been going to a lot
It's
of
not
these
just the
daycare centers. We're
daycares,
trying
it's
to find
the
a spot for
autism
our
clinics.
Little boy Joey, but we thought maybe we could check him into the autism center. Because none of the daycare centers are open. Yeah, and how many kids do you guys have at this autism center?
But look, this whole video This whole video. Like, we don't even have to play it because we know what's happening. They're just going around, more documentation, more paperwork, more locations. Oh no, now you got a little drama. The cops are coming, telling them to leave. Look at this building, doors. Oh, I didn't even watch this part. Hold on. This might be good.
And we headed to the state capitol where they're having a meeting about the fraud to confront the state representatives and people in the government who have enabled and let this fraud happen. Inside of this committee, a Republican representative showed charts showing exactly how this fraud has been committed and who is profiting and connecting all the
Look at this.
dots.
They got the whole
and
case
the Democrat
solved.
Representatives looked
They got the
into
whole
this,
case
one of them
solved.
spoke about how none of this is building trust and how this is a non-partisan
You got the gender
issue, so I
looking,
went
the
and confronted
gender,
her after that.
you got the gender neutral
He has
looking
some very
person over
valid
there at the
questions
desk.
to
They
ask
gotta
about
like
what's
get the
going
quick
on here in
glance on.
Minnesota. And do you think this fraud
I don't know who you
crosses?
are.
My name is Nick Shirley. Do you think this fraud is Republican or Democrat, or just facts that fraud is happening?
I think the fact that
Because
you're
I-
talking about it as a partisan issue
Well, because that's what I heard you
shows
talking
the-
about. That
I know.
You
what
know,
I said
and this kid is
we're
getting,
talking
wanna
like,
about-
I mean, he's already a star. He's got 1 million subscribers. I mean, I don't
enabling fraud to happen here.
No,
don't know.
I don't
I
think
guess I'm
anybody
old.
is enabling
What
fraud
am I
to
gonna
happen.
say?
Hold Governor
But
Walz accountable for this.
this kid is
Okay,
definitely
sir.
going
No,
up.
no, no.
He's
Sir,
definitely
sir.
leveling
No,
up
no, no,
after
no,
this.
Governor Walz, no. She is a representative for the state of Minnesota. Yes or no?
Excuse me.
Yes, are you
If
the-
you're gonna talk to me like
Are you
that,
going to say to her, I'm a disability advocate?
I heard you, and
I get
you got a chance
overstimulated.
to testify.
Thank you for testifying today.
No.
Ma'am, the facts are the facts that fraud is happening here, and it's not a nonpartisan issue. How come you think fraud has been able to happen so much underneath?
I think if you've
government
been
here.
listening to our hearings, we've had now 10 hearings on this. And so there's really good data from the people who both work within the administration as well as
Oh,
who,
please, these people are a bunch
both
of fucking
Democrat and
morons.
Republicans.
We
I think
already
what you
know
heard
that.
Today is that the Republicans who control this committee are not actually interested in solving fraud. What they're interested in is telling a story.
This fraud has happened underneath Democrat leader Tim Walz.
There has been Medicaid fraud across the country under Democrats and Republicans. There's fraud.
Yo,
within
no
the Trump
accountability.
administration. We have.
It's not just
fraud.
us. It's the Republicans and the
Public-private providers
Democrats.
have made
It's happened under the
government
Trump
a mark.
administration too.
And so every person running government,
Which, by the
Democrats
way, is 100% true. It's 100% true. How long was this going on? How many years? And think about it. If you've got hundreds of businesses, and they're all these like Somali immigrants, how did they know how to do this? Who instructed them? Who taught them how to file the paperwork? I'm sorry, who taught them how to file the paperwork? I said paperwork's like a freaking retard. But you know what I mean? Like this was orchestrated. This was orchestrated. It's just insane. It's just insane. All right, here we go. You ready for the back and forth? Let's see what Governor Tim Walz has to say for himself.
This is what happens when they target communities for their own benefit. This is what happens when they scale.
This is what happens when who targets for the communities for their own benefit? The Somalis? Is he going after potential voters?
Scapegoat. And this is what happens when they no longer hide the idea of white supremacy.
Oh, never mind. No. He's talking about Nick Shirley and David. This is what happens when they don't hide their white supremacy, and the Republicans come after what is supposed to be the biggest, or potentially the biggest, fraud scandal of all time by the Somali immigrants. Now, the real question is, if a single dollar of this really made its way to terrorist groups overseas, he should be taken out of the job immediately. Immediately. That is a fucking threat to national security. Yes or no? Yes or no? Why does he still have a job? Why is he on a podium talking? Why is he talking about white supremacy, continuing to push this culture war that's been getting pushed by both sides for how many years now? If there's all this fraud under his watch and the money's going to terrorists, then it is a threat to national security. They should haul his ass to jail. Let's keep listening.
So it sounds to me, Nick, that Governor Tim Walz is...
And look, Fox News, they got him on Fox. This guy, he's like, who knows? Maybe he is like the Bob Woodward of his time. But, you know, he's breaking the story. You know, David, all those connections at the Capitol. He's got all the evidence, all the files. He's been watching, did the whole investigation, and bam, just falls into Nick Shirley's lap. Now he's all over. He's already got his followers, which we're going to find out where he got all those subscribers from. I'm going to have to look into this kid because this whole thing, like I said, this whole thing stinks. But now, J.D. Vance, I know, made a comment complimenting him, talking about the great work that he did. Now he's on Fox News getting the rub. I don't know. It seems like somebody's trying to freaking really stick the rocket to this kid.
Saying that you and others that are out there trying to expose this, you know, you're doing it because you're white supremacists. What is your response to him?
Yeah, Tim wants votes.
Tim wants votes. That's a really, really good answer for him to give from the Republicans' perspective. Right? Right? How old is this kid? 22, 23? Tim wants votes. That's the first words coming out of his mouth.
There are entire apartment complexes where white people have been pushed out of these apartment complexes because Somalians have taken over.
Now he's pushing the culture war. White people getting pushed out because of the Somalians coming in, taking over.
And they're inside of these towns like Minneapolis where they can go get votes from these people. And if you have 100,000 people that will vote for you because you're going to enable and let this stuff happen, and because you're going to call a white person racist for calling out facts, this is what's going to happen to a state like Minnesota. Minnesotans, they say Minnesota nice, but they are very upset. And I totally understand why they're upset, because they don't have a governor who's actually working for them. He's actually working against them.
Nick,
who do you think gave him that script and told him what to say? Seriously, after everything we've gone over, how many of you out there, let me know in the comments, how many of you out there think that Nick Shirley came up with that response all by himself? And again, I'm not knocking the kid. God bless him. He's got a bright future. Seriously, I wish this kid the best. I really do. I just really, really hope that he uses his influence for the betterment of the country and to better the American people. All right, Nick, now it's time to find out who you really are. Born April 4th, 2002. Oh, I'm right, he's 23 years old. Oh my God, I'm so old. Self-described independent journalist, right-wing influencer. All right, let's see. He started his career as a vlogger, prankster, age 16. High school friends. Publicity stunts such as disrupting celebrity weddings. All right, that's interesting, because how did he get access? How would he know about where celebrity weddings are? Got to look a little more into that. Oh, he also offered to sell some of his own recorded footage, including the January 6th attack. Okay, so celebrity weddings and January 6th attack. Now, I think the majority of us by now know that there were a lot of feds on the scene and that January 6th was more than likely a psyop. And if January 6th was in fact a psyop and there were a lot of feds on the scene, there was definitely going to be a lot of planted influencers. I'm not making any accusations about our boy Nick here. If, you know, God bless him. He like, seriously, all jokes aside, that fraud is huge. If he just really, if this guy Dave just really happened to stumble across this fraud and just get it to Nick Shirley, and now he's breaking the story, I mean, boy, did the stars have to align for the both of them. And that would really be bad for our government because of the level of incompetence to allow not just the crime itself to happen, but for it to get outed the way that it did. But now that I'm seeing celebrity weddings and him being at January 6th, I don't know. It's putting... ceases activities on YouTube in order to participate in a religious mission, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Bingo! Bingo. See, when you do as much research as I do, you go down all the rabbit holes. You find all the little nooks and crannies, and certain things just happen to stick out and remember in your brain. Now, Church of Latter-day Saints, let's look at their connections. Organization leadership. Tyler Bauer, COO of Turning Point Action and prominent figure in the organization, is a member of the Church of Latter-day Saints. He has noted that approximately 50% of the team for the Charlie Kirk show consists of Latter-day Saints. I don't believe in coincidences. I repeat, I don't believe in coincidences. Church of Latter-day... wait, hold on. It gets better. Church of Latter-day Saints speakers like Glenn Beck. You mean the same Glenn Beck where Erica Kirk went on there and was telling the whole world about how she's got Charlie Kirk's phone and that he didn't send any text messages to people thinking that, saying that he was worried that somebody was going to kill him? That Glenn Beck? That Church of Latter-day Saints? You know, like you see where I'm going? Am I reaching? Am I just some crazy conspiracy theorist? Am I like, please tell me. And I wasn't even gonna cover this shit. You know how many messages it took for me to get to even want to bother looking into this? And now I'm really glad I did. Because I think we got some deep state shenanigans going on with our boy Nick Shirley. Oh my God. All right, we're going to run this search together. I'm on ChatGPT. Run a deep search and analysis into right-wing influencer Nick Shirley. I want to find out where he grew up, went to school, college, military, etc. Run the same search on his parents and also search for any connections to intelligence, defense contractors, politicians, nonprofits, etc. Except I spelled any wrong, so let's just fix that. Let's go. You know, I'm telling you, this whole thing stinks. It just didn't make sense. It's like I'm watching this video and I'm like, a scandal this big, billions of dollars, terrorists in Minnesota. It's like a layup for the Republicans. A layup. And why wouldn't anybody else catch it? How would this guy David and some 23-year-old YouTuber, like, how are they cracking the story? Again, it's possible, but I don't know. Maybe it's just the way my brain works. And now you're finding out these other connections where he's got these mutual affiliations with Turning Point and Glenn Beck, and JD Vance is posting about him like right away. It's like the whole thing stinks. The whole thing stinks. All right, let's see. Utah. It gets better. He's from Utah. Oh my God. Now, who was he affiliated with during those 2 years that he was on that missionary? Because we already know that intelligence is using religion. They're infiltrating Christian churches, trying to push this Zionism on everybody. Like, we know this. You think it's possible that he got approached by some form of intelligence while he was on his missionary, and that he got tapped to do what he's doing now? I think it's very plausible. Trump admin access. All right, clear connection is Nick's own access to Trump world officials via the White House roundtable. Amplification by senior figures. No evidence connecting him to intelligence and defense contractors. Well, he's young. But Utah is interesting because I think we, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it one of the universities, the same university actually that Tyler Robinson went for that semester, where that was like a breeding ground? Like, didn't they have some kind of intelligence program in that school? Right? So Utah and Arizona are both seem to be places where if you're going to be involved in intelligence, like that's where you're going to go to school, or that's where you're going to be stationed at some point. I mean, it could be nothing, but it's a little something. You know what I mean? Oh, man. All right. I'm not going to go deeper now. I'm not going to go any deeper now. I've actually worked way later tonight than I was supposed to, and the missus is going to kill me if I don't get in the shower and be where I need to be when that ball drops. So we're going to have to cut this one a little short, but I'm on to you, David and Nick Shirley and the deep state. I mean, come on. I don't know. Guys, as always, I just want to finish off with a positive message, especially to end the year. Just whatever you're going through, whatever's going on, just have faith. Have faith. Even if your faith isn't in Jesus, just have faith that everything is going to end with something good. Just be a good person. Even if you get kicked in the dick. Like I always say, be grateful, be kind, and do a good deed for somebody. And yeah, I might start digging a little deeper into this whole Somali scandal after all. Happy New Year, everybody. I'll see you next year.